駆け抜け青春スパーキング。
The day Senpai and I were set to go to a movie had come. Crap, I'm super nervous. I got into our meeting place a little earlier than when we'd agreed to meet up. I don't look weird at all, do I? I don't look weird at all, do I? Even Ritsu had given me a side-eye when she noticed my dress clothes earlier. Dress clothes? I mean, I get you're out on a date, but wearing semi-formal clothing to the movies? Whatever floats your boat, I guess. Perhaps I had chosen poorly in all the excitement of my date with Senpai.
あれ？当のもう来てたんだ。まだ約束の時間前だけど。残念。今回は先を越されたか。
Well, that's basically a first for you. Because when he usually shows up early, the girl always shows up earlier. It's the same thing that happened at the start of the round, right? Nagiko, you came earlier than you. It's just you weren't in the club room, but you were earlier to school than him. This time?
ほら、私がサーフィンのことを打ち明けたとき。
Oh. She was referring to the day we met up and headed to the beach and told me about how she surfed. Oh yeah, that part too. Back then, I'd headed to our meeting spot half an hour early and found Senpai waiting for me. Now that you mention it, are you using the same lip balm as back then?
ええ、まあ、今回はちゃんとしたデートなんだし。
Date. The mysterious ring possessed by that word made my cheeks blush in unison. Our cheeks blush in unison.
とりあえず
I mean, the fact that she wore lip balm last time was a definite indicator that she took you seriously when you brought up the fact that you called your meeting with Nagiko on the beach a date. Sure, let's go with that.
今日は映画を見に行くんだっけ？
Yeah. How do you feel about an action movie? It just came out the other day. It's called Raid 2. I don't know if you've heard of it.
響きが好きで、私もよく付き合ってみるし。あ、でも待ち合わせ時間より早く来たから時間に余裕あるわよね。
Yeah, you're right. Of course she was. The movie had a set runtime, and we would have to wait. We would have to wait just as long as if we arrived at the theater early.
たっくん、私怖かったよ。
A couple that had come out of the movie theater we were heading to now leapt into view.
大丈夫だって。悪者が来ても俺がお前を守るから。
本当？たっくんかっこいい。
当たり前だろ。彼女を守るのは彼氏の役目だからな。たっくん、
こんな人前でそんなこと恥ずかしいよ。
なーに恥ずかしがってんだよ。ほら、手つなごうぜ。
たっくん、ちょっとしゃがんで。
お前、こんなところで。さ
っきのお返しだよ。
The couple held hands and disappeared into the station. Really? They were flirting like crazy without a care in the world that other people could see them. Senpai watched that couple walk away. Senpai, what is it?
大したことじゃないけど、男ってあんな感じのいかにもってタイプの方が好きなのかなって。
I mean, yes, but I ain't like those guys, alright? Senpai let out a small breath as she fiddled with a braid of her hair. With a braid of her hair. It's the braid of her hair. She seemed to be comparing herself to that woman. I think you should be more considerate of You should have more confidence in yourself. It's not like you're not feminine. Besides, if from where I'm standing, you've always been plenty attractive.
その、魅力的って、そうなの？
Her face suddenly turned bright red. She shyly hid her face with her arms to try and escape from my view. The way she was sneaking glances at me through her arms, however, was so adorable. I can't lie when it comes to things like this.
そうなんだ。遠野がそう言ってくれるなら、ちょっと自信持てるかも。
Senpai's face blossomed like a flower. If this gives you confidence, then that would also make me happy. It was the best feeling in the world when Senpai smiled for me. And it hit me squarely in the heart. Alright, Senpai, let's go. Even though we're an hour early, so it's gonna take even longer to wait for the movie to start. It was a little early, but we headed straight for the theater.
ねえ、遠野はポップコーン食べる？
As long as we're here, I'd figured I'd buy some. You, Senpai?
私も買うつもり。どうせだし、シェアしない？
Can we? They're actually pretty huge servings. Ah, they got the American servings. We engaged in idle chatter while we bought popcorn and drinks. And time flew by in the blink of an eye by the time we sat in the theater, waiting for the movie to start. I thought they were gonna say, we finished the popcorn and drinks before the movie even started.
今日の映画、楽しかった！
We were on our way home from the theater.
たまには映画館で見るのもいいわね。
I'm glad you had a good time.
ええ、最近は稽古と部活とサーフィンばっかりだったから、いい気分転換になったわ。ねえ、遠野、この後どうする？
Good question. When the movie was over, we would walk around the shopping district or park and chat about our impressions. Then we could have dinner together when the time was right. At least that's what I'd had in mind for today. But it was a little too early for us to have dinner just yet.
実はね、私ちょっとやってみたいなって思ってることがあるの。
What did you have in mind?
この公園って大きな池があるでしょ？
It does. What about it?
確か遊覧用の手漕ぎボートがレンタルできるのよね。ねえ、遠野、せっかくのデートなんだし、試しに恋人っぽいこととかしてみるのはどうかななんて。
Something coupley, huh? I immediately knew what Senpai was trying to say. A boat ride, just the two of us. That might not be bad. Yeah, it sounds good to me. Boat rides are a rarity, and it'll feel like being a kid again in a way.
そうよね。じゃあ。
Yeah, why don't we go? And from there, we wasted no time and headed to the pond. For the pond.
思ったよりも安定してるのね。
Senpai rode in the tiny boat and got as excited as a kid. I would hope the boats are sturdy, considering you're renting these out to random people. It'd be bad if one of them breaks. That'd be cause for a. I don't know if it's cause for a lawsuit. I mean, it would be if this was America, but you know, Japan is different. There are definitely liability issues if the boats were flimsy.
やっぱりボートといえば手漕ぎよね。私、ボートに乗るときは絶対手漕ぎがいいって思ってたの。
Yeah, I felt the same way. They do have those swan-shaped pedal boats designed for sightseeing at tourist attractions too. But there's a real thrill to actually paddling by hand. You make it sound like you're using your hands to row the boat instead of What am I trying to say? He says paddling by hand, right? And when I think of paddling by hand, I think of fucking doggy paddling in the water. So it makes it sound like you're using your actual hand instead of an oar, right? Sure. Incidentally, Senpai was manning the oars. She'd wanted to paddle first, so I conceded them to her.
急に揺れが大きく
Hey, Senpai, what are you...
私のせいなの
We were being bombarded by an unnatural rocking, possibly because the oars had moved uniformly on both sides. No putting too much force into it. It'll be fine even if you paddle more gently.
でもこんな感じでいいんじゃないの
Also, you have to match up your movements on both sides.
揺れすぎ
Senpai, this is getting dangerous. How about I take over from here?
やだまだ私が漕ぐ
But for all the effort you're putting in, we aren't really making any progress. We weren't all that far away from where we'd started. What distance we had covered had mostly been due to inertia.
大丈夫だってトーノはそこに座ってて
The oars unexpectedly stopped.
あれ何かに引っかかって
Hey, Senpai, if you try to force it too much, then... She was probably caught on some kind of aquatic plant. It was better to take the time to pull them out in these situations rather than try and force them into motion. However, Senpai was intent and tensed her arms to try and force the oars to move.
とりゃ
Cold. The oars flew upward and caused a tremendous splash. There was no way to dodge it on the boat. I was doused in water from head to toe. Oh my god. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised, considering this is what happened in Riri's route when her shirt got covered in sweat, but I didn't expect to see her panties too.
ごめんごめんつい力が入っちゃった
It's fine, really. I sighed and calmly looked over at Senpai. Then I was left speechless.
どうしたのよ急に黙り込んで
Unfortunately, there's a bit of quality loss in zooming in so far into the CG. Now that I have a bigger monitor, I can the quality loss is a lot bigger. Or more noticeable, I guess.
ねえトーノってば
That's what he should have done. She hadn't noticed it yet. If we were on a tiny boat, I had gotten soaked, and Senpai was no exception either. Senpai,
何
your clothes are see-through.
Huh?
I could see your underwear, even though you focused only on her bra. Uh-huh. Senpai froze in place for a moment. Don't panic, Nagiko, alright? Or else you'll get more water in the boat, and your clothes will be even more see-through, alright? So just calm, take deep breaths, alright? Calm down, don't panic, don't freak out. Awkwardly, she timidly looked down at her breasts. Nagiko. Whoa, don't wiggle around too much, Senpai. If you freak out too much, you'll tip the boat over. Especially since you're the one manning the oars. Or we're manning the oars. Never mind. Crap, we're gonna capsize.
あんたを突き落として私も落ちる
Quit it with the scary ideas. It's alright. I just barely can't see.
嘘つき、遠野のエッチ。
Well, no. I can barely see the bra because of the white parts of the dress. The panties, on the other hand, that's definitely completely see-through. But he didn't focus on that part. That means he's telling the truth, right, guys? Yes, I told her straight up that I could see her undergarments. I didn't think Senpai was genuinely cute when she blushed so deeply. She'd be entirely likely to actually push me overboard if I were to tell her that now, though. Whoa, calm down, Senpai. See, you and I, we're on the same wavelength. Freaking out about it isn't going to solve anything.
それは分かってるけど、まさか遠野がこんなにスケベだったなんて。
What did I even do exactly? You being overly high-handed with the oars is what caused this to happen in the first place. You don't have to worry. You'll be dry in no time in this weather, especially since your clothes are already so thin, so they're going to dry even quicker. Whether or not they'll stay see-through is another issue entirely. Hopefully not. In actuality, my clothes were beginning to dry off already.
そうかもしれないけど。
Want to head over into the shade? We can relax there for a little while until we dry off. Our clothes would probably dry faster if we were to stay where we were. However, it was incredibly hot out on the lake and in direct sunlight.
そうね。うん、そうする。
Unlike before, she maneuvered the oars in a slow and careful fashion. Well, yeah, she doesn't want to get more water on her.
力を入れすぎずに左右の動きを揃えてよね。
The boat began to glide along. The senpai was impressive, but once she got the hang of it, she got better in the blink of an eye. Well, she did learn the hard way by getting her clothes covered in water and becoming completely see-through, but the hard way nonetheless. We took temporary residence in a relatively secluded area under the shade. I felt pointlessly exhausted for some reason.
悪かったわね。一人で騒いで。
Nah, I mean, there was a bit of trouble, but it wasn't so bad either. At least I think.
そうなの？
I did get to see a cute side of you.
かわいいって。
I had the impression that you're skilled at everything you do, especially if it's to do with anything physical. So it was surprising to learn that there are things you're bad at too.
だって遠野と一緒だからいいとこ見せないとって気合入っちゃったんだもの。
ん？
なんでもないというか、遠野は私のことそんな風に思ってたの？何でも器用にこなすって。
Yeah. I realized it after seeing you in action in the clubroom, but you're generally very supportive of the other members whenever they speak up about something. You do a good job of meeting their more unreasonable requests.
まあ、確かにそうかも。
So, it was refreshing. I couldn't believe you paddled the oars so hard you got us soaked. I guess you would go so far as to climb a tree to save a cat. You've got quite the mischievous side to you, huh?
もう、あんまりからかうと怒るわよ。それで、どうだった？
Huh? About what?
透けてたのよね。一応可愛いのを選んでつけ違うの！今のは忘れて。
Oh, sure.
もうどうしたのよ私。今日はなんか変。
Wait. What in the world had Senpai been trying to ask? It showed through. Picked this out because it was cute. Had she been asking what I thought about her underwear?
ちょっと遠野、何を想像したの？
Nothing at all. This is a false accusation. Besides, you're the one who was about to ask if he liked your underwear. I hadn't been picturing Senpai in her underwear whatsoever. Definitely not. My impressions had been sprung into air. My impressions had just sprung to mind a little.
遠野、本当にエッチなんだから。それに、私は何を聞こうとしてたのよ。
Senpai blushed brightly and hung her head. Then the conversation just kind of came to a pause. Was it because I'd gotten a glimpse of her underwear earlier? It made it impossible to simmer down.
あのさ、
Listen.
何遠野。
Nah. What did you want to say, Senpai?
私は大した用事じゃないから、先に遠野から言って。
No, mine isn't important either. You go ahead and say first, Senpai.
じゃあ、いい風景よね。自然も多いし、たまにはボートもいいわね。
Yeah, I thought the same thing. Meanwhile, he isn't looking anywhere around him. He's only looking at Nagiko. That this kind of thing might be very nice every so often. I could hear the hustle and bustle of people a bit off in the distance. It felt comforting, like I could forget about my restless everyday life.
それで、遠野の要件は？
Something similar. That I was glad you invited me on this boat ride. Senpai, thank you.
どういたしまして。
A cold breeze blew across the surface of the water. There had been some slightly unforeseen incidents along the way, but we forgot about time itself and enjoyed our time alone together. A lot of time. The time.
嘘！
We'll be in trouble. We'll be in trouble if we don't hurry back. Senpai, let me take the oars.
これ。
Whoa! Hurry! My arms are aching. We had somehow made it back in time without exceeding the rental time limit. I took multiple heavy breaths, ignoring the desire to just collapse on the ground to the ground where I stood.
大丈夫？遠野。
Yeah, no problem, but you know, wouldn't it have made more sense to just pay the additional fee to extend the rental?
確かにそうよね。
Although there was a fee for more time, it wasn't actually that pricey. I screwed up.
まあ、無駄な出費をしないのはいいことじゃない。
I guess so. What's done is done. Why don't we head back for now?
ええ、そうしましょうか。
I'd caught my breath already. We assumed a leisurely pace and left the park.
あれ？この音。
Senpai abruptly paused mid-step thanks to a noise off in the distance. Right. Uh-huh. Senpai?
この音、スケートボードっぽくない？
Isn't that it over there? I looked around and immediately spotted it.
子供が遊んでたのね。
Something seemed strange, though. There was a boy and a girl playing, but it also looked like they were arguing.
遠野、行ってみましょう。
Yeah, let's go.
君たち、どうしたの？何か揉めているみたいに見えたんだけど、喧嘩でもしてたのかな？お姉ちゃんに話せることがあるなら相談に乗るよ。イニスタのストーリーズのお姉ちゃんだ！
In a rare turn, Senpai shouted hysterically when the girl pointed her finger at her. Wait a second. I didn't know she was pretty. I didn't know she was so famous on Instagram. I mean, Inusta. Inusta, meaning the videos Hijiri uploaded? Or is it Hijiri who was famous on Insta? I guess there was a viewer here.
ねえお姉ちゃん、スケボーで技やって。私がスケボーでピュンって飛べるんだって言っても信じてくれないの。私、嘘なんてついてないのに。そんなの無理だろ。
Listen, kid. The only reason you're saying this is because you're jealous that a girl can do it and you can't.
ジャンプ台みたいなのがあればともかくさ。
That's what you started that's what started your argument? The dispute was apparently sparked by something insignificant. Is that something you could show them, senpai?
ちょっとそのボードを見せてもらえる？いいよ。
She took the board from the boy and began to physically check the area around the wheels.
普通のスケボーか。せめてサーフスケートならよかったんだけど。
Well, I don't think random kids are gonna have fucking skate surfers. Is there something wrong with it?
足回りが全然違うのよ。エアーはかなりやりづらいと思う。
So it's out of the question? No, you can still gain air from it. It's just gonna be harder to gain the same amount of air that she did in the video. Senpai stole a glance over at the teary-eyed girl. Senpai let out a small sigh when she noticed her desperate gaze.
よし、やってやろうじゃない。うわあ、お姉ちゃん。本当にできるの？私に任せなさい。じゃあ君、ちょっとこのボード借りるわよ。
Don't get mad if it breaks, you know, okay? Promise you won't get mad.
見逃さないように、ちゃんと私を見てるのよ。
She hopped nimbly onto the board, kicked off the ground, and began to glide around. She sliced through the wind, her skirt fluttering from even the slightest movements. But Senpai didn't pay that any mind. She zigzagged around in an attempt to get a feel for the board, all while gaining even more speed. It didn't take long for her to get the hang of it to some extent.
よーし、それじゃあ行くわよ。
Senpai's movements changed along with the ambience about her.
頑張れ、お姉ちゃん。なんかすげえ。
She gradually got closer as she gained sufficient velocity. And then...
やー！
She performed a simple aerial where she simply jumped, then made a clean landing. But it wasn't over yet.
いけるか。てあー！
What? She added rotation. On top of that, she performed the same air reverse she had shown me on the skate surfer before.
どうよ。
And Senpai's tricks made the children shout with excitement. Beep. What? I thought I heard some... Oh. I thought I heard some faint electrical sound muffled by the children's voices. What the... It was that person. There was someone across the way. Were they taking pictures with their phone?
すごいでしょ？ほら、この子は嘘をついてなかったんだから、何か言うことはない？疑ってごめんね。スケボーでも
あんなにジャンプして技とかできるんだね。
じゃあ一緒に練習しよう。私にかっこいいとこ見せてほしいな。
任せて。
They must have been docile children by nature and seemed to make up quickly enough.
スケボーのお姉ちゃん、ありがとう。
ありがとう、お姉ちゃん。
They thanked Senpai and went off to play on their own, like the good friends they appeared to be.
なんだか照れるわね。
Yeah, good friends. They definitely don't like each other. Listen, it's alright because they're kids. They don't realize they like each other. It'll take a few years before they start realizing their feelings for each other. I keep... each other.
ごめんとの、お待たせ。
Nah, I got to see something nice too. It's not the move he's talking about, it's the upskirt. If you ask me, he seemed like the best big sister ever when dealing with those kids. He reminded me of Kato Senpai's special lesson. I'm surprised that I added the honorific when I don't normally add the honorific, but because it's in quotations, you have to add the senpai to it, but I didn't consciously do it, you know. Never mind, you don't understand.
この前のことは忘れて。
Senpai's face was turning red. She really had seemed like a wonderful big sister to those kids earlier, though. That reminds me. Who had that person been before? They disappeared at some point.
どうの、もう帰りましょう。
Surely it's not Kika, right? Well, actually, I would prefer if it was Kika rather than a creep who was taking videos of kids. So, you know, probably better to be Kika.
もう恥ずかしい。
Senpai stood ahead of me and started to walk off to hide how red her face was. Oh, wait a second, Senpai. I quickly chased after her. You gonna have dinner together? Well, I guess not.
昼間はデートした分、ちゃんと稽古もしないとね。それにしても、デートか。
Oh my god, this made me smirk. I think Tono had a good time as well, so I'd call it a success. Since we shared popcorn, I even got to touch his hand a few times during the movie. Yeah, it was definitely a success. You're not gonna say you saw a cool side to Tono when he was rowing back to when he was rowing the boat back to shore as fast as he could?
ここまで来たら、次は告白。トノに告白する番。
Hold on a second. Could I really do that? Would it be better to have Tono do it instead? From there, we would.
ダメよ。告白だけならともかく、それはまだ早いから。でも、覚悟だけはしておいた方がいい。
What should I do if things progress that far?
もう、煩悩退散。稽古再開よ。駆け抜け青春スパーキング。
You know, I'm glad we're getting more.
ごめんトーノ、遅れちゃった。
I'm glad we're getting more Aikido from Nagiko, but unfortunately the Aikido we're getting from her is only her without you practicing with her. It's just her practicing while she's getting flustered about the things that Tono, that you are doing or that she is doing in front of you, right? It's sort of similar to when Riri would always. You didn't hear that. It's similar to when Riri. When we would always get scenes of Riri in her room, right, flailing around on her bed, talking about what happened that day. Right, that's basically what's happening with her in Aikido practice. So, you know, the monkey's paw, I guess. I got what I wanted, right? I got more Aikido from Nagiko. It's just not the Aikido I wanted.
もしかして結構待たせちゃった？
Not complaining though, just yeah. No, it's alright, senpai. We agreed to go shopping together for supplies for the club room. However, a text from senpai 30 minutes before our meetup time suggested she would be late.
とにかく遅れてきたお詫びに何かさせて。
Senpai pleaded, all while pressing her palms together apologetically. It's really not that big of a deal.
荷物持ちでも何でもするからね。
There's no way I could ask you to do that.
じゃあ何か欲しいものはない？私が遠野におごってあげる。
She'd likely feel uneasy if I left things as they were. Sure. Why don't you buy me something to eat then?
うん。で、何がいい？
Let's see. How about tapioca?
タピオカ？
There are customers who have asked about those drinks at work.
タピオカか。実は私も飲んだことないのよね。丸っこくてもちもちしたのよね。あれって原材料は何なの？
It's apparently some starch that comes from a cassava plant. I don't really know much about it though. So, you make it up for being late by buying me a tapioca drink.
わかったわ。じゃあそれで。
It would allow me to try something new. It would appease Senpai's need to apologize. It was a win-win for both of us. And besides, you can consider this another date.
喉も渇いてたからちょうどいいわね。
If you guys are doing more than shopping, then you could consider this another date.
そういういかにも女の子っぽいものを飲むのにも興味があったし、タピオカどんな味なんだろう。
There it is. Senpai, that place over there specializes in it.
ここってタピオカの店だったのね。遠目で見たことあったけど来たことはなかったのよ。
From what I heard, they've got the most varieties of all the shops in the city. Well, that's what I've heard anyway. Other shops tried to jump on the bandwagon by adding tapioca drinks to their menu. However, this shop offered a wide array of flavor options, or so I heard. Well, here's the problem, right? In my city, there are a ton of bubble tea shops, right? And some of them double as a froyo place too. So, you know, there's a lot of competition here. I don't know where I'm going with this, but, you know, interesting it's just a fun fact.
へえ、いろいろあるのね。こういうのって映えるっていうのよね。
Especially since the way you was talking about this tapioca shop, this bubble tea shop, he makes it sound like this is the only one in their city. I'm trying to remember. I forgot the name of the city. I've seen girls share pictures to social media, share pictures on social media with them all the time.
うん、私も見たことある。でも見た目からは全然味の想像がつかないわね。
Why don't we try them for ourselves? It's fine with regular milk tea, but what will you have?
私はどうしようかしら。
I always go for taro bubble tea. Taro milk tea.
抹茶にきな粉にチョコバナナミルクに黒糖、いろいろあって悩むわね。
This was a first at first for me as well, but there really was an abundance of flavors to choose from. I bet that's because it has a drink base, and and they just add the tapioca to that.
ああ、そっか。ドリンクだけを取っ替えればそれだけでいいのか。
Senpai sounded impressed as she looked over the menu. I know how she felt. Menus like these made it difficult to choose. So, Senpai, which will you... Senpai's eyes practically sparkled when she stared at the menu. Her expression made my heart skip a beat. Well, I think the sparkles around her gave that away. Is something wrong?
いちごミルクティー。
Huh?
私これにするわ。タピオカいちごミルクティー。
Hey, Senpai, you're so close. She must have been excited. As she leaned in close enough that she was practically glued to me. Do you like strawberry that much?
大好き。昔合気道の稽古の後に食べるいちごがすっごく甘くて好きで、それを食べるためだけにお稽古を頑張ってたんだから。
Well, I'm glad that you've never had a bad strawberry, but considering it's Japan, I'm not surprised that every time she's had a strawberry, it's always been sweet. How about that? This was kind of unexpected. Her enthusiasm made sense now that I knew she was a die-hard strawberry fan.
店員さん、タピオカミルクティーとタピオカいちごミルクティーをお願い。喜んで。
We waited around for a minute or so for our order. It didn't take long for the two separate drinks to be placed in front of us.
お待たせしました。ご注文のタピオカミルクティーとタピオカいちごミルクティーです。
ありがとう。ほら、トーノ。
I took one of the containers from Senpai.
いちごとタピオカの融合、どんな味がするのかしら。
Sorry to bring this up with the exciting part, but I don't think tapioca has much of a taste of its own.
そうなの？
Well, it's originally a starch. I think it's more about enjoying, like, the texture, or how it feels going down your throat.
へえ。でも、私にとっては初体験なもの。
Yeah, I always love sucking on balls of tapioca.
いちごとタピオカのコラボレーションは普通に楽しみだわ。
She said that radiantly as she brought the straw to her mouth.
何これ、すっごいもちもちしてる。
It sure is. I see. So this is tapioca. It was a simultaneous onslaught of milk tea and mysterious springy masses. Tasteless gummies. Chewy gems.
本当に薄味なのね。でもこの食感、ちょっと癖になるかも。
She loves the feel of balls in her mouth. Well, I know what you mean. The chewy texture is great.
うん、すっごく不思議。特別美味しいんじゃないけど、いくらでも食べられそう。いちごミルクティーとしても美味しいし、タピオカが邪魔になってないし。
Senpai and I shared all sorts of opinions about this new experience.
イエーイ！タピオカチャレンジ！
All of a sudden, we heard an enthusiastic shout.
あんたすごいね。
これぐらいどうってことないよ。
うん。私もあんたくらい豊満な胸があれば。
Don't tell me it's what I think it is.
タピオカチャレンジ？
It was adorable watching Senpai tilt her head as she curiously watched the two women.
ねえ、トーノ、あれって何やってんの？
Oh, Senpai, I don't think we need to worry about it all that much.
何よそれ。そんなことを言われると余計気になるんだけど。
Senpai peered at my face and leaned in close. Since she leaned so far forward, my eyes were drawn to her deep cleavage. Senpai, give me some space.
離れてほしいなら、タピオカチャレンジって何か説明しなさい。
Yeah, I'm also curious. to know if it's the tapioca challenge that I think it is. Okay, fine. It's a challenge where you balance the tapioca on your own chest and see if you can drink it. You take a selfie of your attempt and post it on social media.
Huh?
Yeah, no. I've seen the challenge before. I didn't expect it in a visual novel, but... well, it's here now. It's here now. Senpai's expression went blank, her face simultaneously tilting to the side. She stayed in that position and turned just her head toward the girls from before. Naturally, her hefty cleavage remained jutted out before me.
胸に置いて?
Yeah. Those girls over there are actually doing it, right?
やってるけど。最近はああいうのが流行りなの?
You know, I feel like it would have been more appropriate to bring up this topic in Riri's route than Nagiko's. You could have swapped the two things around, right? Where Riri does the tapioca challenge and Nagiko and you eat shaved ice. You know, wouldn't it have made more sense with the bigger titted girl? Her cheeks darkened to a vibrant shade of red.
あんな恥ずかしい真似してんの? それもネットにあげるって信じられない.
Especially since you would get the same reaction from both of them. You'd perhaps get even more of a reaction from Riri, considering she's even more timid than Nagiko. It won't do you any good to say that to me. It gets all sort of attention, after all. You could call it an effort to go viral. I'd imagine it took a lot of guts to put yourself out there like that.
納得はしたくないけど、わかったわ。そういうのが多くの人に見てもらえるのは理解できるし。でも...
The senpai curled her arms across her chest, obstructing my view. When she carelessly held them like that, it only emphasized them more.
私はそんなことしないからね!
I wasn't even considering that. Even so, I couldn't help but picture it. Senpai's tits were huge, after all.
何ニヤニヤしてるのよ。スケベ。
Wait, you've got it all wrong. And hey, you're overthinking this. Even though I would love to see you try to do the tapioca challenge, it's not like I'm going to outright admit it, alright? I'm not a pervert. Even though I was thinking about it. But I didn't say it. It's not like people do the tapioca challenge for perverted reasons, even though it's definitely for perverted reasons. You are posting pictures of balancing bubble tea on your tits to emphasize how big they are. Right? You're not only drawing attention to your tits, you're drawing attention to the size of them, being like, hey, my tits are big enough to balance bubble tea on them. It's like, how are you not doing it for... how is it not for perverted reasons? Right?
そうなの?
Think about it this way. A lot of people are taking the same sort of selfies. Do you think every last one of them has that in mind? Well, they're using their body to gain more views on social media, so yes. It's just an extension of regular photography. It's to put yourself out there and show off your tits. Just like spicing things up, effectively. If it were for perverted reasons, their social media posts would probably be moderated anyway. Well, no, that's the problem. That's the problem. That's the thing. This is a loophole. Don't you understand, This is a way to circumvent the moderation on safe for work, quote-unquote, social media by doing something perverted without it being NSFW.
一理あるわね。 自分アピールだからあれくらいするだけで、考えてみたら響や聖にも似たようなこと言われてるし、手段を選ばずに女の子らしさをアピールしろって。
Senpai's gaze falls to her chest. She cupped her ample breasts, pushing them together and easing them upward, seemingly oblivious to my presence.
もう少し大きければ。頑張ればやれる。
Senpai, I wish you would consider where you are before doing that.
Huh?
She seemed to have realized what she was doing when I pointed it out. Her face darkened to an intense shade of red, and steam just about rose from her chest. I mean cheeks. I wasn't thinking about her tits or anything.
なんでもないから。
Her hands fell away in a fluster, and she waved them bashfully in front of her face. I couldn't help but turn away to hide my embarrassment as well.
それよりそろそろ買い物に行きましょう。買うものも結構多いし、早くしないと帰るのが遅くなるわ。
She started to ramble, likely to downplay what she'd done. What's more, she resumed an almost sprint-like pace, seemingly in an effort to flee the scene. I could feel my face grow hot as I chased after her, not because he's embarrassed, but because of how much exercise he's doing. After we brought the supplies to the club room, we walked along the coastline. The shopping took longer than I thought. I had trouble carrying everything we bought, and we ended up splitting the load between us. Which was how shopping for club room supplies ended up being our sole club. Shopping for club room supplies ended up being our sole club activity for the day.
それにしてもタピオカはなかなか美味しかったわ。トーノと一緒にいると新しい発見があって楽しいわね。
Same here. That almost sounded like you were flirting with him. Every day I'm with you is fun. It's fun. The feelings I harbored for this woman made that assertion all but certain. Even walking with her like this was enough to make my heart pound.
トーノもそうなの？でも私はトーノに何もしてあげられてないと思うけど。
I don't know, you were talking about your tits for a solid 10 minutes. That did a lot for him. That's not true. You told me how much fun surfing could be, right? It all started when I spotted Senpai in that tree. We started spending more time together once I learned her secret. As I had gotten to know Senpai, I came to like her more and more.
木に登ったところを見られたのは不覚だったわ。あれがきっかけでトーノにサーフィンのことを知られたのよね。
Do you regret me finding out?
別に後悔はしてないかな。
No, the answer is that she doesn't regret it because she likes you. I was gonna say more, but I couldn't really articulate it that well, so I just simply put.
好きなことを話せる人ができたし、もし知られてなかったら、私は今もずっと一人でやってたかもしれない。トーノと一緒にサーフィンできて楽しい。どうしようって悩むこともあるけど、基本的に悩む時間も楽しいのよね。だから、今はトーノに知られてよかったと思ってるわ。
I see. Thank goodness. Not only that, but she enjoyed spending time with me. That really did make me happy.
トーノはどうなの？余計なこと知っちゃったせいで、私に付き合わされてさ、内心で面倒だって思わなかった？
Absolutely not. If anything, it meant I got to see all new sides to you. I had thought it was cute. It was cute more than a few times too. It helped me realize how incredible you are. You really are. You're so accomplished at Aikido at your age, and you're level-headed as a person when it doesn't come to pervy stuff. I really do think you're amazing.
やめてよ。褒め殺して私をどうする気？それに、それを言うならトーノだってすごいじゃない。マジックのこともそうだけど、勉強も成績優秀でしょ？ しかも、バイトをして生活費まで自分で稼いでる。
It's not really that impressive. What is impressive is that Nagiko is the second person to bring up how hard of a worker he is at his job, and the fact that he has to make a living off of it. I was desperate and never really bothered to take the time to get a good look at myself. Study hard and bring in a paycheck. That and supporting Ritsu were all I ever thought about. And those are respectable things to worry about. Or those are respectable thoughts. Yeah. I never even imagined I would ever fall in love. Especially not with a tomboy. I mean, my opinion completely changed when I saw you having as much fun as humanly possible, all while doing things you enjoyed. Until recently, I'd always thought of you as a diligent, level-headed person who's good at Aikido, and now you're a diligent, level-headed person who's also good at surfing. And there's more to you than that, though. Your eyes practically sparkled when you told me just how much you loved to surf. I thought you enjoyed. I thought to myself, you have this side to you too. You're an incredible person, not to mention cute.
かわいいって。
Are they really going to confess to each other right now? I don't know. This doesn't feel like the right mood. Senpai's cheeks reddened when I put that into words. That was one of the cute things about her. It would only fuel her embarrassment further if I told her that, though. Well, I've said a lot, but I was never bothered even a little.
遠野。ありがとう。実はちょっと気にしてたの。私の都合でいろいろ振り回しちゃった感じだし、それで嫌われちゃったりしてないかなって。
There's no way I would ever hate you, Senpai. The only person I would ever hate in this game is Hibiki. If anything, Wait, this was bad. I nearly confessed to her on the spot. As such, I clamped my mouth shut in a panic.
むしろ何？
Nothing, really.
なんでもないって感じじゃなかったわよね。もしかして、遠野ってば、私のことを好きになっちゃったとか？
Oh. Is this really... This is Nagiko's way to mask that she likes you as well by teasing him. Yeah, she's using the Nagatoro method.
なんて、そんなことあるわけないよね。
Not good. There's no way I could tell her no. I didn't want to say I didn't like her, even as a joke.
ねえ、遠野、なんで黙ってるの？まさか、本当に？
I doubted I could play this off any longer. Surely she had noticed I felt something for her, right? It would be impossible to go back to our ordinary routine this way, the way things were. I would have preferred to tell her in a more formal way, but... Senpai, could we talk? This was it. I made my mind and fixed my gaze squarely on her.
どうしたの？急に改まっちゃって。口調だって急に敬語に戻って。
I have something important to say.
大事な話？
Yes. I needed to tell her how I really felt. There was a chance I'd put it off forever if I didn't tell her now. If that was even a possibility, it would be better to let the momentum carry me instead. There is something I would like to tell you. I emphasized the wrong words. Senpai timidly addressed me with flushed cheeks. Yikes. This has gotten me tense. He was just putting my feelings into words. Just saying 3 little words, and yet... My heart was running amok, more than I had ever experienced before. I split my hands across my chest and took a deep breath. Then, I said what I had to say. I love you, Senpai. If it's okay with you, please go out with me. We were already on a date. Yeah, basically. And based on how she'd been acting recently, my odds shouldn't be low. She definitely felt something for me. At least, that's what I believed. But that still didn't tell me how she would react.
私は、遠野は、私なんかでいいの？私より、女の子らしくて可愛い子はたくさんいるのに。
That's not true. You're charming enough to hold your own against anyone.
でも...
At the very least, I only have eyes for you. For you. I love you, Senpai. Please go out with me. I gazed directly into Senpai's eyes and awaited her answer. My heart was about ready to explode from nerves. But I couldn't run away from this. Uh-huh. Kato ran away. You couldn't run away from this, but she can. In no time at all, she had vanished from view. I was now alone. Oh. Wait a second. Did she reject me? Now this is interesting. You know, I complained a lot in Hazuki's route in Riddle Joker about how Satoru, in his infinite wisdom, essentially rejected Hazuki by saying he needed more time. And I say essentially because that's how Hazuki interpreted how he said what he said, right? In this instance, in Nagiko, in her infinite wisdom, runs away while Yu is confessing to her, and he interprets that as a rejection too. But this isn't as bad, right? This isn't as bad because it's Nagiko who is the more timid one out of the two, right? If it was Hazuki who ran away when Satoru was confessing to her in Riddle Joker, I wouldn't have complained about that. Right? It is very conflicting, but it's because of the personalities of the two characters, where it's like, you know, because Hazuki is who she is, you know, it'd be better to be more upfront with her than to keep her confession in the air and be like, will he say no? Will he say yes? It's kind of, you know, you feel bad for her. In this instance, I mean, you still feel bad for you, right? You still feel bad for you, just not as much. Not on the same level.
私、どうして逃げてるのよ
Tono went to the effort of telling me how I felt. I'd imagined every possible scenario beforehand.
あんなに頭が真っ白になるなんて思わなかった。この、私の大バカ
This was the worst.
穴があったら入りたい。
だからといって柱に穴を開けられても困るのだが、娘も 青春する年になったのだな。